Hey gang, I am imagining that you can hear me and see me. Just want to make sure everything's working really well for us as we launch in here. Dr. David and April, can you hear me out loud and clear?
We can.
We hear you loud and
Fantastic.
clear.
Fantastic. We should be live with the live stream. People should be able to join. I just want to text people here.
I've got a couple texts of how you log in, so
Okay. Give people an opportunity to hop on here.
I guess I've done it before.
I'm going to put the start screen up, okay?
Okay.
Just so we've got that going. Hey, gang, we're going to wait just a couple of minutes here. I want to give people an opportunity to hop on, so I'm going to play some really nice background music for you. I'm not going to play it personally, but we're going to play some nice background music for you. If I play music for you, you might run away. We can see that people are jumping on, so David and April are sending out a link to make sure everything's good there. So we're just going to give just a few minutes here for some other people to jump in. And before you know it, we're going to have a fantastic time. And then what's going to happen is you'll probably have some dinner together and have some more conversations. So maybe you have somebody in your downline, your upline, somebody who's in the organization who maybe is on the fence or needs to be nudged or reminded. I would encourage you to remind them right now to jump in and not to miss out. We're going to have a fantastic time together. We're going to look at your subconscious mind and how to change that to get that aligned with where you want to go. Super excited. So I'm going to just put a background screen there, a little bit more music, a couple more minutes. And when David and April give me the thumbs up, we will jump in with both feet. It's going to be like drinking from a fire hose. So you're going to want to make sure you have something to write down with. I know if you're like me, you use your smartphone to write things down, but I would encourage you to go a little old school. Get some paper and pencil. You can always convert it to your smartphone later on. Get some paper and a pencil down, handy for yourself, a pen, and that'll help you as well. Making a note for myself here. So I'm going to give you some background music, background slide, and we will be back shortly. Okay? All right, gang, we are ready to rock and roll. Let me bring David and April here so they're on the screen as well. Thanks for your patience as we get all the technical issues all squared away. We want to make sure we don't leave anybody behind. So we're going to jump right in. Hope you're ready. Hope you're excited. Dr. David, April, great to see you. I love your hat, April.
Thanks. I'm rocking some fall weather. It's that time of year. So we're excited to be with you tonight.
It is that time of year.
Mike, we're front row seats, so we're here as students just like everybody else. And I don't want to take one moment away from the time that you're going to cultivate this very critical talk that's going to be life changing. So I just wanted to applaud you. Thank you once again for you having
Thanks.
the courage to learn this and be able to then present it in a way that we can all grow along the same path you've grown. Thank you, Michael.
Well, it's a privilege. It's a privilege to be with you. Let me drop something up on the screen here because this is important, gang. As we are spending our time together today, you'll be able to text questions that you have. Question, comment, because it really is going to be like drinking from a fire hose. And because of that, I want to make sure nobody's left behind, right? So this is an opportunity for you to text David and April directly and say, hey, could Mike clarify this? Could he clarify that? Or what about this situation? Whatever you might have. Hey, Mike just went over something. Could he go into that a little bit in more detail? Or what are his thoughts about this, right? One of the things I am excited about, I haven't told anybody to this yet. I haven't announced it yet. I was recognized by a group of scholars in Switzerland, a neuroplasticians network. This is a group of PhD neuroscientists, and they recognized me. It's very humbling to say, as a master neuroplastician, which I did not expect. They heard about my theory, what I call the breadcrumb principle. It's in my new book. They really like that. I believe that I talked about that in the last master class. This is why I say it's really not right to call this master classes, but I talked about the breadcrumb principle in the last master class. It's going to be in my new book. I'm going to be featured on their podcast later on in November. Of course, I'll let you know about that. But the things that I'm going to be sharing with you came to me through the School of Hard Knocks. So Dr. David and April, I appreciate you entrusting to me the opportunity to come alongside your great team that you've already built up, that you're nurturing, and to be able to add fuel to the fire that you already started. So thank you so much.
You got it.
Thumbs up, full speed ahead, bud.
All right, gang. See you later. I'll bring you on later on. All right, gang. So here's what we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to be talking about your subconscious operating system. And by the way, there are no notes here when I'm speaking. No teleprompter or anything. Of course, I have bits of paper here that I write stuff down, but this is not something where I'm using a teleprompter or anything. And I think that's really important because you always want to make sure that whoever you're listening to and you're getting advice from, that the person that you're getting it from has gone through what you may be about to go through or what you need to go through. If they can't repeat it to you, if they can't tell you and guide you from here and from here, it's a red flag. I feel that it's a red flag, if that makes sense. So the things that I'm teaching you came the hard way for me. It's taken me literally years to develop what I've now distilled that I'm going to be giving to you based on neuroscience and neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is a fancy word. It means that our brains are plastic. That doesn't help me, right, Mike? What does that mean, my brain's plastic? It doesn't mean like, plastic like this type of plastic. In neuroscience terms, plasticity means moldability, that something is changeable. We used to think years ago, until probably about 10 years, 5 years ago, and now it's just off the charts with the ability to do brain scans with MRIs. We used to think that the brain was only moldable and shapeable up to a certain age. Now we know that that's not true, that you can change the shape of your brain through the neural pathways and change the way your brain functions through the things that I'm going to share with you, for example. And the reason why these things are so important is because it has everything to do with your success in life, has everything to do with every area of success in your life. 5 areas of your life, right, the things that I'm going to be talking about, you can distill and you can apply, you can point to 5 areas of your life: your relationships, your health and your fitness, your finances, your career, and your rest and recreation. Those are the 5 areas of life. I'll say them again: your relationships, your health and your fitness. I think I might have said them the other way around before. Relationships, health and fitness, your finances, your career, and your rest and recreation. Rest and recreation is important because you don't want to play when you're at work and you don't want to work when you're at play. How many times have we been in conversations with people and they know that we're not listening? We know that we're not listening because our mind is someplace else. So those 5 areas of life, you're going to be able to apply the things that I'm talking to you about, I'm sharing with you, because I want you to succeed in business. David and April want you to succeed in business. They want you to succeed in your relationships. I want you to succeed in your relationships. Anytime that we're in our time together today, you want to be able to ask your question, okay? That's really important. We have bonus material for you. This is free bonus material. It's included in the masterclass. If you text the word, I believe it's bonus or bonuses, you might need to use, it could be plural, I don't know. But if you text that word to that number, 864-572-7220, you get the exclusive content. This is for the ILD team only. I do ask that you don't share that with other people. Don't, because you'll have access to it. You could say, hey, I could share these videos with other people. I mean, I'm not saying if somebody gets encouraged by it, that's one thing. But this is really exclusive ILD content that was created for you guys. Okay, so text the word bonus or bonuses to 864-572-7220, and you'll be able to get those bonuses. Okay, today we're going to talk about your SOS, your subconscious operating system. Now, the amazing thing is, let's think of this as your brain, right? Your brain is gray matter. It's made up of cells, neural pathways. By the way, one of the more recent discoveries that we came across is that the heart actually has neural pathways that are similar to the brain, which was actually kind of mind-blowing to see that connection there. The heart has some neural pathways that are remarkably like the brain, which is amazing with the brain and heart connection. Let's say that this is your brain. Your mind is the program that runs on your brain. Your mind is that mysterious, intangible thing that is a program like software that runs on the hardware, if that makes sense. And so what we want to talk about tonight is your subconscious operating system. We all have one, your subconscious mind. It's always running in the background. And here's one of the things that you need to know, because this affects you in regard to your courage and your boldness in approaching people for the business, talking to them about the business, presenting the plan with them, coaching and mentoring and nurturing people in your downline, receiving input from your upline, right? That's really important, receiving input from your upline, because you need to be a teachable person. Your subconscious is very important to understand how it operates. And one of the things that we don't understand, this was mind blowing for me when I heard this, and this might actually rock your world too. Your subconscious does not prioritize things based on whether or not they are true. What? Your subconscious prioritizes what is repeated most often and what is most vividly presented to it. This is why sometimes you only see something or you hear something once and it is burned into your what? Your subconscious. It's burned into your brain because there was some kind of vivid stimulation that you saw, that you heard, that you felt. You can't shake it. It doesn't necessarily have to be repeated again and again. It just happened once. And now you can't unsee it. You can't unhear it. Your subconscious replays for you at times that we would think are inopportune, to its own liking, its own choosing, things that it has been exposed to frequently through repetition and through intensity. It does not prioritize things that are true. Now, follow me on this. This is super important. You have mistakenly thought, I mistakenly thought, most people make the mistake of thinking that your mind is giving you truthful things. It's giving you the truth. When we think, well, my beliefs, this is what I believe. A belief is something that can be true, it might not be true. Who determines whether it's true? Well, first of all, the objective nature of whether or not it's true, right? This is why it's important to understand how your subconscious works. If you think that your subconscious is going to be giving you things, prioritizing, replaying things based on a truth scale, well, it's giving me the things that are most true as top priority, you are fundamentally mistaken. Fundamentally mistaken. Mike, why should I care about that? Your subconscious is giving you the things that you keep asking for, whether they are true or not. Whether they're true or not. If you think unhealthy, negative things about your spouse, your subconscious is then going to go to work with something called confirmation bias and cause you to be blind to seeing the things that contradict what you keep replaying. Why? Because your brain, your subconscious, think of it this way, is like a social media algorithm. If you have not watched the movie, this is spontaneous here. If you haven't watched the movie The Social Dilemma on Netflix, The Social Dilemma, you need to watch that because it will explain in detail how social media works. This is why when you're scrolling for something, you look for something. So a lot of times you'll have a conversation with somebody, and then the next thing you know, Google is making a suggestion for you, right? Or if you search for something once, the social media algorithm says, oh, you looked for that. You wanted that. Well, here's more because it's trying to do what it's programmed to do. And what it's programmed to do is to give you more of whatever you ask for. That is exactly modeled after the way your subconscious works. Your subconscious is like a puppy dog that you throw a ball out and it's going to retrieve it and it just thinks you want to play catch. So you can have a bad thought, unhealthy thought about a spouse, about a coworker, listen to this, about a prospect that you want to talk to a business. Maybe you got rejected 9 times, right? And you know that it's the 10th time. You got to go through the 9 to get to the 1. You listen to your subconscious say, well, that person said no, and this person said no, and this person said no, and this person didn't show up, and this person didn't show up. Before you know it, your confirmation bias is going to show you more of the same thing of what you have been replaying. That's why everything I'm going to be talking with you about is so important, because what we want to do is we want to rewire your subconscious. It replays things that are repeated and that are vividly experienced. Those two things. Now, some of that means that, well, that's too bad. I didn't want to be exposed to all this rejection repeatedly. Now it's in my subconscious. You think, well, that's too bad. I didn't want to see or hear that. I didn't want to get into that argument. I didn't want to be told this by my parents. Many of us are adults, but we're really children in adult bodies, right? We're carrying around a lot of baggage because we haven't resolved things. That's the downside, right? I didn't ask to be exposed to this repeatedly. I didn't ask for this intense encounter, and therefore my subconscious is now replaying it. What can I do to escape that? The same tactics, the same methodology that was used to wire your subconscious in a way that you didn't ask it to do it, you didn't want it to do, is what we will now start to use to get the same results out of your subconscious, but now we're going to point it in the direction we want it to go. Your brain is lazy, but it also wants to be trained. Your brain is lazy, but it also wants to be trained. If you train your brain consciously through what I'm talking with you about, I'm going to give you very practical stuff here about literally how to rewire neural pathways or neuropathways. There are a couple of ways to say that in your brain. And the way we're going to do it is through repetition and intensity. Repetition and intensity. We're going to use our conscious mind through conscious decisions, and we're going to use overwhelming force. We're going to declare war on your subconscious We're going to get it off the couch. It's like a overweight, middle-aged man eating potato chips, watching reruns on Netflix that aren't even that good. We're going to kick it off the couch and we're going to give it broccoli. We're going to give it bioflavonoid rich foods, and we're going to give it good, healthy protein that at first, the man on the couch, think of it this way, likes eating the potato chips. He doesn't know that there's better programming out there than the reruns that he's been watching. So he's just going to keep watching the programming because your brain is lazy. He's going to keep watching the programming, keep eating the potato chips, and keep putting on weight and setting himself up for failure, disease, cancer, heart attack, all kinds of stuff, less than optimal living, as well as a negative mindset, because he has trained himself through what we've talked about here earlier, repetition and intensity, the things that he's exposed to want the same thing. So we're going to use the same things, repetition and intensity, vivid imagination, to overwhelm the subconscious and to force it, right? We're going to force your subconscious to actually rewire neural pathways. What is a neural pathway? The distance between point A and point B. You introduce a thought, and what happens is your subconscious is firing really fast with the thoughts that you've had, the experiences in life and exposure in life. When we rewire it, the new wiring, the new neural pathway that actually lights up with an MRI. If you did a brain scan while you were thinking about stuff, we would be able to see neural pathways lighting up in your brain based on the things that you're thinking about, right? And so when you introduce a new thought consciously that we want to get wired into the subconscious, that does not fire as fast as the old thoughts. It doesn't. This is why you have to be persistent. This is why you have to exercise over the long haul. If you want to get rid of body fat, you want to develop muscle, you want to get cardiovascular conditioning. Nobody would go to the gym a couple times and say, well, I tried that for a couple of weeks, my body looks the same. Everybody knows that no pain, no gain. If you want physical conditioning, you have to stick with it. You have to have a program. You have to be relentless. You have to break down the muscle fibers in order for them to be rebuilt. That's why you have protein and you eat good foods and things of that sort. By the way, some interesting studies coming out on creatine and the mental benefits of creatine. It's been long used in the bodybuilding world and sports physiology. By the way, this is not an endorsement of any kind of health advice, any kind of medical advice. I would never give you medical advice. I would never give you health advice, right? I'm giving you stuff based on my experience. You should be consulting with your doctor, your healthcare physician about any of this stuff. Yet I can say studies now with creatine, there's just one that came out in the news in a major way just today about creatine having tremendous benefits for your brain health. It reinforces these neural pathways. So here's the question. You've got a subconscious operating system. It is operating underneath the radar. 95% of your thoughts, between 90 and 95% of your thoughts are at a subconscious level. Your heart has been beating thanks to your subconscious. You've been breathing thanks to your subconscious. All that stuff didn't ask your permission for that to happen. But even thoughts, your negative thoughts, your positive thoughts, thinking about a variety of things. When I say something like, hey, what's for dinner? Your mind immediately goes over here. And for just a split second, you forgot that we're watching a presentation here, right? So what we want to do is we want to rewire your subconscious operating system. It's flying in under the radar so that it becomes automatic. We want to take what is called your rants, your repetitive, automatic, negative thoughts. Your repetitive, automatic, negative thoughts. These are happening at a subconscious level. Your rants, and we want to install new parts. This is something that is fresh on my mind. It's one of the whole chapters, 2 chapters in the new book. We're going to install positive, automatic, repetitive thoughts. Positive, automatic, repetitive thoughts. We're going to replace your rants with new parts. Okay, we're going to install new parts to take the place of your rants. Your rants are the things that are happening in your subconscious mind based on inattentiveness. Just through the circumstances of life, you have developed a subconscious operating system. It's out of control. It is going to keep doing what it's doing unless You give your brain some training with your conscious mind and lead it in the direction. Here's the beautiful thing, you guys. This is the beautiful thing. Your brain wants to be trained. It will be trained. And if you take seriously what I'm going to give you, these next 7 components, you will be able to rewire your brain. And Lord willing, we'll have time where I'm going to give you a couple of the key times, best times of the day to use these as well, based on neuroscience, based on neuroplasticity, and how we know how the brain receives information, based on scans that have been done. And it's going to blow you away. And I'm going to give you a hack too. I'm going to talk about the use of one particular word. The use of one particular word, because that becomes very important with this thing called cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance. Now, before I give you these 7 components, we're going to talk about focused imagination. Focused imagination is super important because focused imagination is the secret, it is the key to repetition and intensity. You need repetition and intensity. If you use both of them, which is what we're going to talk about with the 7 components of using positive affirmations, if you use the positive affirmations the way I'm going to lay out here for you, as you do that, you're going to get something called cognitive resistance, cognitive dissonance popping up. So focused imagination, super important. We're using intensity and repetition. Cognitive dissonance is resistance. When you have, now pay attention here because this is really important, because here's what's going to happen. And you're going to get discouraged if you forget what I'm going to tell you right here. Listen to me. Everybody, pay attention here. Put your pencil or pen down for a second. Stop any kind of other conversations you might have been having, any other kind of conversation chat that you might be having, any kind of multitasking. Like, don't text anybody during the rest of this time. Don't text anybody, right? Pay attention here. You're going to get discouraged, and you're going to think that what I'm sharing with you is not true if you don't let this sink in. When you introduce a new thought, a new belief, a positive affirmation that flies in the face of an area or areas of your life that you have been entrenched in for years, your brain is going to exhibit cognitive dissonance. It's like the overweight man, out of shape, sitting on a couch, eating potato chips, watching reruns on Netflix. It's worse than that. It's worse than that. Cognitive dissonance is resistance to a long-held belief, value, or attitude. If you have a belief, a value, or an attitude, it does not matter if it is based on truth or not. It is only based on repetition and intensity. That's how your beliefs, your values, and your attitudes are formed. This is really important because you need to make sure that your beliefs, attitudes, and values are based on truth, not speculation. You keep speculating about failure, and guess what? Your confirmation bias is going to keep showing you. See, I knew it. No wonder. No wonder. You will never meet a gold medal Olympic athlete who thought he was or thought she was going to fail. They were not fixated on failure. They were fixated on success. Same thing with a successful person in the business. They're not walking around thinking and focusing about their failures, thinking and focusing on how they almost woulda, coulda, shoulda. They believe, and they value themselves. They value what they are doing. They have an attitude that has shaped their altitude. And I know that we say that all the time, your attitude determines your altitude. It is really true. Your brain proves it. Cognitive dissonance will kick in whenever you introduce something other than potato chips to your mind. When you introduce a new belief, a new value, a new attitude to your brain, to your subconscious, cognitive dissonance will kick in, and your subconscious will resist it, even if it's true. even if what you're introducing is true. And here's the truth, right? There are things that we choose to believe that at this point in life are neither objectively true or objectively false. They are yet to be. You're following me? They are yet to be. Well, what does that mean, Mike? It means, why should you assume the worst that they're not going to be, when you can spend the same amount of time, energy, and imagination assuming that they are going to be? The Olympic athlete, why is it okay that Olympic athletes and professional athletes, we laud them, we applaud them, we think that they're champions because they focus on getting the ball into the basket. They envision it again and again, focused imagination. They envision themselves running across the finish line, doing a perfect dive, skiing down the hill flawlessly. They literally are coached to do that. Literally coached to do that and to perfect their mind. You will not find, listen to me, a professional, successful athlete, a gold medal athlete, who has not also done an extensive amount of mindset work to envision the future that is not yet reality. That's what worry is. Spending time, energy, and emotion on a reality that doesn't exist. Why don't you spend time, energy, and emotion on a reality that doesn't exist in a good way? You see what I'm saying? In a good way. So you introduce a positive affirmation, like the signature one that I gave you last time. I'm so happy and thankful now that money, friends, and influence come to me in increasing amounts on a continuous basis from a variety of sources. It's one of my signature affirmations, right? It's a compilation from several that I worked on that I saw, and I said, I'm just going to create a nuclear one. I'm so happy and thankful now that money, friends, and influence come to me in increasing amounts on a continuous basis from a variety of sources. You will never find a successful business person who hasn't also worked on their mindset. And especially at sales, especially when you're dealing with people joining a network, joining your organization, right? You got to believe it. You have to envision it. Why is it okay for athletes to do that for a game and a medal when we're not playing games? This is life. This is life. Listen, if you're not doing positive affirmations, if you don't know how to create them, if you're not doing them every day throughout your day, you're doing negative affirmations. How do I know that? Because your subconscious operating system that has taken decades, it's taken decades to develop through repetition and intensity, it's just going to keep doing its thing. We have to rewire it. We have to rewire it. So let me jump in here and give you 7 components of any positive affirmation. And you might say to yourself, why positive affirmation? I don't believe in any of that affirmation stuff. Yes, you do. That's cognitive dissonance you're experiencing right now. You do believe in it. You just haven't tried it to the point where you become a believer. You have been practicing negative and neutral. I would go so far as to say, I don't even think there's such thing as a neutral affirmation. I think they're either negative or positive. I'd be very black and white about it. You've been practicing negative affirmations for so long that that's what you're used to. That is what you are used to, and that is what is wired into your subconscious. Okay? So, first thing, focused on gratitude. Your positive affirmation needs to be focused on gratitude, because gratitude, we believe that it is probably one of the highest forms of love. Being grateful, having an attitude of gratitude, writing down every day 5 to 10 things that you are really grateful for, especially when you're in the doldrums, especially getting into the habit of doing that. So number 1, it's focused on gratitude. I'm so happy and thankful. And I'm going to show you each one of these components with my signature affirmation, right? I'm so happy and thankful. I'm so happy and thankful. I say it there twice. Happy and thankful. I could just say, I'm so thankful. But I want to be hyperbolic, because what I'm doing here, what I want to show you guys to do, I'm using the whiteboard here. It's why I'm sitting behind a whiteboard. Let's say that this is you, right? This is you. We want to hit your subconscious from as many, I don't know if that's coming out clear or not. It's not too terribly clear. I have a circle here with arrows. We want to come at your subconscious mind from as many possible angles using as many parts of the body as possible to overwhelm it. This is all out war, and it has to be all out war because otherwise cognitive dissonance is going to win and you're going to give up. And you're going to say, I tried positive affirmations for a couple of weeks. I tried it for a couple of months. Nothing really changed in my life. And I'm going to tell you, that's because you gave up too soon. You gave up too soon. Don't give up too soon. Don't give up too soon. You are getting information that will absolutely change your life, right? Absolutely change your life. It's got to be focused on gratitude. I'm so happy and thankful. I want to overwhelm my mind because when I throw something at my brain, at my subconscious, I'm forcing it to pay attention to me. I am making a conscious decision to force my subconscious mind to be imprinted with what I'm giving it. So it has to be focused on gratitude. I'm so happy and thankful. Second thing, written in the present tense. I am statements. I am. Notice that? It kind of flew in under the radar until now I'm pointing it out to you. I am so happy and thankful. This is because we know, and you know this from movies, you know this from dreams that you've had, that the subconscious mind has a very difficult time making a distinction between something that is vividly imagined, and something that is actually happening in the physical world. Has a hard time doing that. Use it to your advantage. Use it to your advantage. You want to envision yourself as one of the most successful people in business in the history of business. That's what you want to do. You want to envision your marriage as being a fantastic, intimate, close marriage, emotionally connected, intellectually connected. The physical connection, that comes as a byproduct of that. It's an overflow of that, right? So you want to write it in the present tense. I am. I am is a present tense statement that you're making that causes your subconscious mind to sit up and pay attention. So now I'm beginning to overwhelm it, but we're just at the tip of the iceberg here. We're just at the tip of the iceberg. I'm using present tense. I'm focusing on gratitude. And now my subconscious is being forced to make a decision. Well, am I or am I not? You're not giving it time to think about it. You're compelling, you're forcing it. Now, one of the things you can do is use your non-dominant hand. Like I'm right-handed. When you write out your affirmation with your left hand, if you're right-handed or vice versa, one of the things that does is it forces your brain to activate neural pathways that it hasn't activated before. It wouldn't have activated it before because you don't write with your non-dominant hand. But by doing that and writing with your non-dominant hand, you are forcing your conscious mind and your subconscious to be imprinted upon. You're forcing your brain to pay attention. And now, before you know it, your subconscious is not even thinking about resisting you over here. Why? Because it's like sleight of hand with magicians. Look over here. Hey, look over here. Look at this coffee cup while I raise my hand over here and I take something out of your pocket, right? You're using basically like sleight of mind, right? That's really what you're doing. Actually, that phrase just came out of my mouth here. It's actually a pretty decent phrase to use, right? You are tricking your subconscious by overwhelming it. So written in the present tense, I am statements focused on gratitude. Using your non-dominant hand is a really good thing. Does that mean you have to write it out? No, it doesn't mean you have to write it out. It doesn't mean it. But all these 7 things that I'm giving you, the more of each of them you use, the harder it becomes for your subconscious mind to resist them. It becomes hard. Overwhelming force. That's what we're doing. We're doing overwhelming force to create new neural pathways. We are overcoming cognitive dissonance. Because here's what's going to happen. When you introduce this affirmation in your life and your behavior doesn't match with it, or your circumstances don't match with it, I'm so happy and thankful now that money, friends, and influence come to me in increasing amounts on a continuous basis from a variety of sources. And you look at your life and you say, I don't see 90% of that. I can't say that in good conscience. That's because of cognitive dissonance. It violates what you believe. It violates your attitude. It violates what your experience is. We do not, listen to me, we do not let the experience dictate what we are feeding the subconscious. We're not doing that. Again, your subconscious is going to accept what you vividly repeat with intensity. That's the point. That's the point. The Olympic athlete who wins the medal does not go into the competition already having the medal. They are envisioning the medal. They have done a lot of mindset work to see themselves crossing the finish line, skiing, jumping, whatever the case might be. It's no different in business. It's no different in your relationships. Okay? So the third thing, say it aloud with passionate emotion. You want to be able to use each of these 7 as often as you can for overwhelming force. That doesn't mean that if you're driving in your car, you got to pull over and write it down. For Pete's sake, for your sake, right? Say it out loud with passionate emotion. Why is emotion important? Emotion is important because that's an intensity thing. That's what your subconscious is looking for, my friend. Your subconscious is looking for shock value. And we got to shock it. We got to kick the overweight, middle-aged, potato chip eating, Netflix rerun man off the couch so that he has to get up and evaluate what is he doing. You're wasting time. You're wasting energy. You're wasting life. You're feeding garbage into your life, and you're going to get garbage out. So emotion is very important. Feeling is very important. Mike, cognitive dissonance again. What if I don't feel it? That's the whole point. If you felt it, you wouldn't need to do it. You'd already be there, right? You'd already be there. This is why some of the things I'm about to share with you, some of the other components are going to help you in this regard. What you do is you vividly imagine the emotion that you would have if this statement were true. I'm so happy and thankful now that money, friends, and influence come to me in increasing amounts on a continuous basis from a variety of sources. How would you feel if that was true? You see where your mind is already going when I ask that question? By the way, if you have questions, I want to know what they are. You need to text them right. Here's the number to text them to. How would you feel if that statement were already true in your life? Present tense, right? With emotion. That's the point. You vividly imagine the emotion that you would feel if that statement were already true. And you say it aloud with passionate emotion. Here's what we want to do. We want to get to the point where you no longer have to force your subconscious to adopt the feeling and to stop putting up cognitive dissonance. You persist in this to the point over weeks and months. In my case, it took me 18 months to turn the corner because I had so much negativity going on in my mind. I can tell you guys that once you start winning in one area of your life by using what I'm telling you, you will get momentum that will seep into other areas of your life. They will seep into other areas of your life and gain tremendous ground and move you forward in tremendous ways. So said aloud with passion and emotion. You use the emotion, you vividly imagine the emotion that you would have if it was already true, and that's what you force yourself to focus on, okay? You vividly imagine it, this is the fourth one, as already being real. We do not wait. You're going to make a mistake if you don't do this. The Olympic athlete does not wait until he has the gold medal, until she has the gold medal to say, I'm a gold medal winner. They vividly imagine it as already being real. They vividly imagine it as already being real. You want to do the same thing in your business. I'm already an emerald. I'm already a diamond. I'm already, right? I'm already, like whatever level you're at, I'm already at the next level. And here's one of the things you want to do. You want to match it, number 5, with a matching facial expression. You cannot say, I'm so happy and thankful now that money, friends, and influence come to me in increasing amounts on a continuous basis from a variety of sources like that, and have your subconscious mind expect to believe the look on your face. Like if you were vividly imagining it, right? It's already being true. And you are grateful that it's already true. And you were saying it. You would want to say it with a matching facial expression because we're using overwhelming force. One of these other components is your facial expression. Hey, that's the look on your face when you believe it, when you're happy about it. Well, what if I don't feel about it? It has nothing to do with how you currently feel. Please listen to what I'm saying. Neuroplasticity is not about, this is not about, using affirmations is not about what you currently feel and waiting for that to influence you. That's outside in living. That is backwards. We're talking about inside out living. We're talking about, yes, fabricating and firing neural pathways and creating neural pathways that create the emotion. That's what we're doing. So you want to vividly imagine it's already real and use a matching facial expression because that gets hard to resist because then you have to make a decision. Do I believe it or do I not believe it? And you want to use an exaggerated facial expression. Exaggerated. Like if I do this, I wish I could see your face. I guarantee every one of you is smiling right now. And if you're not, you're forcing yourself not to. It sends a powerful message to your subconscious that aligns with what you're saying and what you're envisioning. Very important component in the process of using overwhelming force to rewire your subconscious, to create a new subconscious operating system, a new subconscious series of thoughts, right? The sixth thing is you want to match it with your posture. You want to have a posture that is a successful posture, a positive posture, because in the same way, it does send messages to your brain, literally. They have done studies now. I talk about it in my new book. They have done studies where they could see the electrical impulses in the body, in the brain. And when there is a positive posture, a posture of victory, your brain picks up on it. So you want to say the affirmation with that positive posture. And then the seventh thing is to repeat these things all day long throughout the day. I'm going to repeat all 7 components right now, okay? I'm going to give you all 7 components of doing an affirmation the right way. This is one of the reasons why people give up on affirmations is because they don't do them the right way. We hear a lot of talk these days about manifesting. And if I just say and I manifest, this is going to happen. The purpose of doing the affirmations is to actually get your behavior to align with what you're saying, because your subconscious is ruling the day and determining what you do. 7 components of doing an affirmation the right way. Number 1, focused on gratitude. Focused on gratitude. Happy and thankful. Happy and thankful. Number 2, it's written in the present tense with an I am statement. I am so happy and thankful. See the hyperbole there? So happy and thankful. Not I am grateful that. Okay, you're grateful. That's not bad. But I like the I am so happy and thankful. So happy and grateful. It gets very hard to leave any wiggle room there, right? So it's focused on gratitude. It's written in the present tense with an I am statement. Number 3, it's said aloud with passionate emotion. Why do we want to say it out loud? Because then your brain hears it. Your subconscious is listening to what you are saying. It's listening to what you're saying in your self-talk when you mumble under your breath. It's listening to what you're saying when words come out of your mouth. This is why you shouldn't curse yourself. You shouldn't curse other people. You shouldn't say things that your subconscious, which is a sponge, will pick up and then replay for you later on. And let me tell you something. Your subconscious is one of your biggest adversaries. It loves to hit you below the belt at inopportune times when you didn't really need to hear it. So your affirmations need to be focused on gratitude, written in the present tense, said aloud with passionate emotion. Number 4, vividly imagined as already being real. We're not saying it in the future sense. We're not doing this. This is not what we're doing. I am so happy and thankful that I am going to be successful. Wrong. That's future tense. Present tense, already real, vividly imagined. So, what are we doing here? We're not just saying it, we are vividly imagining. That's why you're going to want to do your affirmations closing your eyes at times, right? And you're going to want to vividly imagine what does it look like in my life right now to have money, friends, and influence increasing every time I turn around. What does that look like? Maybe you see yourself at your house, or people are over at your house, and you're having a gathering where you're sharing with them. Maybe you're over somebody else's house and you're sharing with them. Do you see what I'm saying? You're vividly imagining it, and you got a taste of that because when I was just speaking, you started to go there in your mind. The issue when it comes to success or failure in life is an untrained mind. Your untrained mind is the problem. So number 4, vividly imagine it's already being real. 5, matching facial expression. 6, matching posture. 7, repeated all day long throughout the day. So I'm going to say all 7 really quickly, and then I'm going to see what other questions you have. Text your question, and then I'm going to help you to we're going to talk about cognitive dissonance a little bit again, and then I'm going to talk about the power of one word. The 7 components: focus on gratitude. Number 2, written in the present tense in an I am statement. Number 3, said aloud with passionate emotion. Number 4, vividly imagined as already real. Number 5, using a matching facial expression so that your face reflects what you're actually saying. Number 6, matching posture, so you have a posture that reflects what you're actually saying. And number 7, repeat it all day long. Why is repeating it all day long important? Because repetition and intensity is how you rewire neural pathways in your brain. It's how you rewire your subconscious. That's the way it's done. That's the way it's done. It's done that way for you there in Washington State. It's done that way for me here in South Carolina. It's done that way for human beings if you're in Africa or in Russia, any part of the world, no matter when anybody has ever lived or where they ever will live. This is the way your subconscious is wired. This is the way to develop new neural pathways in your brain. You now have the secret. That's the simplicity of it. Here's the complexity of it. Cognitive dissonance will fight because your reality is not yet there. If your reality was there, you wouldn't be introducing the positive affirmation. If your reality was there, you would be doing the positive affirmation to continue to maintain the momentum of the direction that you're in. You don't want those neural pathways to start dwindling down, to get dim and diminished. You want to strengthen them. You want to keep lifting. You want to get good bone density. You want to get good muscle fiber strength, good muscle twitch, those types of things, right? So that's what you want to do. Here's a great question. Is it best to imagine before going to bed and when you awake? That is a beautiful question. And the answer is yes. That's actually one of the things I was going to talk about. There are different wavelengths, brainwave states that we operate in the course of a day. Deep sleep, for example, is gamma. When you're in gamma state, you're deeply, like you have REM sleep, I believe that's the right one. Gamma, that's not the one I've done the most study on. So I could be wrong on that, but I think gamma is the one where you're especially in a deep REM state of sleep. The 2 most effective brain waves to introduce and to use your positive affirmation are when you're in alpha or low alpha and when you're in theta. And here's what happens. When you lay down and go to sleep, you go from your conscious wavelength, your conscious state, whatever that is, that brain wave. And forgive me, I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm not focusing on the name of that one, but you go into alpha or low alpha. That's the state that you can actually induce through light praying or light meditation, or when you begin to fall asleep. You lay down on your bed, you close your eyes, you take a couple of deep breaths, maybe you put on your sleep apnea mask. I have one of those, by the way. I don't know if any of you guys do. You should take, if you have sleep apnea, you should take that very seriously. And you go first to alpha and low alpha. And again, you can do that when you're praying or if you're meditating, alpha and low alpha. That's when you start to feel relaxed. You then go from alpha to low alpha and low alpha to theta, which is a lot of times Theta is when you start fading out. It's the state just before you're totally asleep, when you start to dream, when you start to maybe hear things or sense like you're someplace else. You ever had a feeling like all of a sudden you're falling and you slap the bed, that kind of a thing? That's because you're most likely in theta, perhaps going to that next deepest level. Those are the two most effective phases when you're sleeping to introduce your affirmation. I'll tell you why. Because your subconscious mind is like a bakery. It's going to take that stuff that you mix up in that mixing bowl during alpha and theta. It's going to put it in the oven of its subconscious. It's going to bake when you're in deep sleep, when you're processing your memory, because when you're in a deeper state of sleep, that's when your memories are solidified. And this is why there are problems with memory with people who have sleep apnea and dementia and Alzheimer's, for example, because your brain is being deprived of being able to formulate its memories. That's one of the things that happens. And so what you're doing is right before you go to bed, before you turn the light out, you write out your affirmation. You do the 7 things that I just told you about. You close your eyes and then you use focused imagination. You force yourself not to think about other things, not to focus on other things. This is what you're focusing on because you're baking bread. You're baking bread, and eventually the breadcrumbs are going to fall from it. Remember our last time together? Your breadcrumbs are the emotions. The emotions are the byproduct of your thoughts, your beliefs, your self-talk. So when you're going to sleep, just when you turn out the light, as you're going into alpha, you just got finished doing your affirmation. You introduce the affirmation in whatever area of life you need it the most, wherever the pain is, that's the affirmation that you do. Your brain goes into alpha and low alpha and then theta, and it begins to ruminate and brew on those things. Does that make sense? Is that helpful? That's one of the most effective times. And then when you're waking up, you know how when you're waking up in the morning, and you can train yourself, because I do this, it takes time to train it, but that's what it's all about. When you're just waking up in the morning, you don't start thinking about other things. You don't reach for your phone. You reintroduce that affirmation and you focus on it and you envision it. And you immediately let yourself go back to it. And you will find, my friend, that if you do it before you go to sleep and you keep persisting in that, when you wake up in the morning, that affirmation will be right there. Like you're taking it out of the oven. It's fresh bread to take right out of the oven. So it's very important to do it during these particular times as well. Here's another question. How do you flag or catch your cognitive dissonance so that you can call them out and interrupt it? Fantastic question. This has to do with the power of using one word. And this is something that I stumbled upon because I noticed a lot of cognitive dissonance, a lot of resistance when I was introducing affirmations, excuse me, that flew in the face of what my actual experience is. And that's the whole point of it. That's the whole point. That's the reason why you're doing a positive affirmation. You are confronting the reality that you're already experiencing. You're rewiring your subconscious so that your subconscious gets on board and starts to motivate you for different behavior. That's why you're doing it. You introduce one word because your subconscious is going to resist a fully formed loaf of bread. It's going to resist a fully formed positive affirmation. Why is it? Because you're making a declarative statement that is neither totally false or totally true, or maybe your mind recognizes it as being false based on your beliefs, your values, and your attitudes, or your experience, right? And so if I say, I'm so happy and thankful now that money, friends, and influence come to me in increasing amounts on a continuous basis from a variety of sources, or I'm so happy and thankful now that I have the freedom to do whatever I want with whoever I want, whenever I want. That's another one of my signature affirmations, freedom. And I know that's a great word for the ILD team. Freedom. I'm so happy and thankful now that we have the freedom to do whatever we want, whenever we want, with whoever we want. That's really what freedom is all about, being able to have that flexibility. Your brain, your subconscious is going to say, I don't think so. I don't think so. So what you do is you introduce one word because your subconscious already has specific definitions that are objective tied to individual words. For example, success. It knows what success is. You're not saying you're successful. You're just saying the word success. There's nothing to contradict there. There's nothing to resist. What's your brain going to say success is not a word? You see what I'm saying? What are you going to say? How about the word wealth? Wealth, wealth, or abundance, or health. These are all individual words that have objective truths attached to them. You're not saying, I am successful. Then you can get a little cognitive dissonance, a little resistance. After you just showed somebody the plan and they said no. You just had a discussion that you hoped would go well. It didn't go well. And you want to say, I'm so happy and thankful now that I have a great relationship when this just happened, right? That's open to debate. Your subconscious can kick back against that. But if you say success, there's an objective truth definition tied to that. And so what we're doing is we're introducing one word: success, abundance, wealth, happiness, prosperity, victory, triumph, whatever word floats your boat, in whatever area of pain you're experiencing. You introduce one word and you say it the same way that you would with the 7 components for a fully formed affirmation, with a facial expression and posture: abundance, abundance, abundance. You think about, how would you welcome a friend that you hadn't seen in a long while if they walked into the room? You'd welcome them with your posture. You welcome them with your facial expression. You give them a big, if you're Italian, you give them a kiss, right? David, I'm going to give you a kiss when I see you. You hold out, you open your arms up, and you welcome them. This is what you're doing. You're welcoming the reality into your life as if it's right there, right now, and you use one word. Does that make sense? That's one of the key ways that you break down cognitive dissonance, resistance. You introduce one word, you repeat that over and over and over again. You feel like a failure, you use the word success. Success, 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 success. See how I'm smiling? Success, success, success. You're dealing with financial difficulties, so you're not able to make ends meet. Abundance, 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 abundance. And what happens is your subconscious mind sits up, takes notice, starts focusing on that word: not lack, but abundance; not failure, but success; not poverty, but wealth. You see what I'm doing? You're training your subconscious to go in this particular direction. You are actually creating neural pathways. Your parts of your brain are new parts of your brain are lighting up that are now in direct opposition to failure, to poverty, to lack, to sickness. You see what I'm saying? And by introducing the one word and sticking with it and using it the same way you would a positive affirmation, you're getting your subconscious current, your stinking thinking, you're getting your SOS to give up. This is the whole idea of overwhelming force. Your subconscious won't know what hit it, but you will. You'd never go into an all-out war in a military campaign with using a couple of ships and saying, well, we won't. Any war that was fought and lost was fought and lost because of this, when there were plenty of resources to have won the war. You look back at history, you can see this. Whenever we did not go in fully committed with land, sea, and air, and fully went after it, we had a difficult time in the war. It's no different with your subconscious. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? What other questions do you have, gang? Text your question. David and April, I'm going to bring you on here in a second to see if you have any follow-up questions, follow-up comments, or anything like that we can talk about as well, okay? So gang, let me summarize what we're doing here. Let me summarize what we're doing so that you understand and so that you can put this into practice, because this is how your brain works. This is how you change the shape of your brain. And if you change the shape of your brain, the shape of your life is going to follow, right? It really is. The purpose of doing all of this is so that what you're doing at a conscious level becomes subconscious, and it literally replaces your current stinking thinking with a righteous reality. You're replacing that stinking thinking with new thoughts. You're literally rewiring it. You're rewiring your subconscious so that the rants, the repetitive, automatic, negative thoughts are replaced with positive, automatic, repetitive thoughts. That's what we're doing. We're installing new parts to replace the rants. Okay? Does that make sense? So let me bring David and April here, see what other questions, comments you have. And there's still time to text your question in as well. Okay? David, April, I'm going to give you full screen here for a moment. Okay?
Oh, thanks there.
Thank
That was
you.
awesome. I'm just going to say something real quick. I love the whole thing about rants and how to replace that. That's just perfect. I think when we talk to different people, we can automatically, for a lot of us that have a tuned ear, hear some of those things. But it's a great way that you gave everybody to replace that. And I'm going to definitely have to practice writing with my left hand, my non-dominant hand, because that's a hard one for me. But that'll be a real work.
I remember, Michael, one time when I was studying with some mentors, Think and Grow Rich, the chapter, The Six Ghosts of Fear. And we decided to do something very unorthodox and read that chapter backwards, one paragraph at a time. I don't mean read every sentence backwards, but a paragraph at a time. And it confuses the subconscious mind, as you're saying, with the cognitive dissonance that's desperately trying to maintain the status quo. And what you said today, by the way, it's kind of like, wow, even though I know this stuff, I've heard it more clearly today than ever before. And my question to you, Michael, is this. Is it at all helpful at any time when one is going through their affirmations that they're involved in, say, physical activity? Like, as an example, I would go for a jog, and every step I take, I'd say, I'm a diamond, I'm a diamond, I'm a diamond. Or music. I can recall when I was wanting to get into medical school and it was so challenging. I had a particular song that I would sing with auditory dissonance, meaning if I was out of tune, over and over again, that it got the emotion of success deep inside of me to fight the fear,
Yes.
the doubt of rejection.
That's exactly what you want to do. That is the principle of what we're doing. You need to be present. You know, people say you got to show up. 90% of life is showing up. Actually, think about that. You can show up to a meeting and be there in body and have your brain a million miles away. You can show up to dinner with your spouse and still be at work. It's not just being there, right? This is why people think, and I touch on this in the book, manifesting, right? It's a big word these days. Well, I'm going to manifest. I'm going to focus my mind and I'm going to declare it and proclaim it. But your facial expression doesn't reflect it. Your posture doesn't reflect it. What you just said, David, it's absolutely helpful to be doing some type of physical activity that you're combining with your mindset. I see people in the gym all the time doing leg presses and they're watching TikTok. I kid you not. They are missing out on, it's not just the physical activity. First of all, you're not really pushing hard because you're not focusing. So you brought up a great point there, David. Yes, the more of your body that you can involve with your brain. Let me say that again, everybody. The more of your body you can involve with your brain, the harder it is for your subconscious to check out. You want your subconscious to be like, hey, what are you doing? We are literally reprogramming it. And we need to call it to attention. We need to kick it off the couch and say, I'm calling you on the carpet here, and I am now commanding you to serve me. You sabotaged me long enough. Listen, guys, aren't you tired of kind of like limping along financially? Aren't you kind of tired of just kind of looking at other people's relationships and saying, I wish I had a relationship like that? Aren't you kind of tired of looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, I think I could be in a little bit better physical shape? You know, when I lost 22 pounds, I introduced a positive affirmation, which was, I'm so happy and thankful now that I'm 175 pounds of lean, muscular, healthy goodness. That's literally the affirmation I introduced, right? Before I was 175 pounds. And guess what? I wouldn't take no for an answer. And that was key to me losing weight. So yes, great point, David.
What
Great point.
about this, Michael? Getting in front of the mirror with the smile that you talked about, with the chin up, shoulders back, gleam in the eye, and vociferously stating the affirmation, not just at a quiet pace, but louder and with
Yes.
a lilt to your
Yes.
voice, so it becomes more intense.
Yes. That's the whole point of passionate emotion. Whatever you need to do, you need to get yourself beyond the point of caring what anybody else thinks, including yourself. At first, it's going to seem like you're crazy. At second, it's going to seem like it's crazy. Let me ask you this question, everybody. Would you be willing to look like a crazy person if it meant being more sane than you've ever been in your life? You know what's crazy? Limping along. You need to think of yourself as an Olympic athlete in business. I am going for the gold. Nobody enters the Olympics hoping they get the bronze medal. Nobody does that. You settle for the bronze level, the bronze medal, right? You don't know if you're going to be emerald or diamond or double diamond. You don't know. So since you don't know, don't assume that you're not. Go for the gold. Go for everything. Go for everything. And don't take yourself out of the equation. So that's the whole point. Passionate emotion. You've got to get that subconscious mind that has been undermining you with this constant naysayer negativity. You really can't. You're really not going to. What if this? What if that? You need to say, you need to serve it notice every day throughout the day. So I love that, looking in the mirror. And listen, I know you do it, David. I've done it. Everybody, if you haven't done this, you're going to think, like, this is so weird and so strange. So what? That's good. And if you sense the resistance, that's good. That means you touched on a nerve. I should say a neural pathway. When you get the resistance, that's exactly what you want. You should look at yourself in the mirror and say, thank you. Oh, I'm onto something here, aren't I? Oh, I got myself out of my comfort zone.
Michael, would you say that it would be even more intense to possibly repeat, speak to the power of cognitive dissonance, speak to the negativity, and just simply tell it, I bind you and I command you out of my presence. You do not have authority over my life because, and then say your affirmation again
Yes,
and again.
100%, because that's a great way to say, this is what you are now focusing on. I am this. This is what I am now focusing on. And one of the other things you can do with somebody asked, can you use two words? Yes, you can use wealth and abundance. Absolutely. Because what you're going to do is you're going to go through stages. Maybe we'll do this in a future masterclass. You go through stages, like first you introduce one word: abundance, 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 or love. Let's say it's your relationship. It's love, 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 love. And then the next stage is, I'm ready for love. 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 The third stage, I'm so happy and thankful that I'm ready for love. I'm so happy and thankful that I'm ready for love. Fourth stage, I'm so happy and thankful that I'm ready for love and ready to give it. I'm so happy and thankful that I'm ready for love and ready to give it. Fifth stage, fully formed affirmation. So there's stages. So you can rebuke the current stinking thinking, the subconscious operating system. You can recognize the cognitive dissonance. When you recognize the constant cognitive dissonance, it's a good sign. It means you've touched on the area, like you're getting at the epicenter there of what the issue is. That's exactly what you want. You introduce the word, introduce two words, use repetition, use focused imagination, and I'm telling you, you're going to seem like you're out of your mind at first. And I think I did this when I was with you guys live a couple of years ago when I'm driving down the road and I recognize that I'm thinking a negative thought. And I will literally sit there and smile. Everybody in the audience there smiled because it's true. You literally want to do this all day long because repetition and intensity of focus, are what you need. So you need to be willing to seem like you're out of your mind, to be more in your mind than you've ever been in the course of your life. You are greater than an Olympic athlete. You are greater than, you are running something much more important than a race to get a gold plated medal. They're not even solid gold. You are in it to win it, and it's not a game, it's your life. And you got to believe in you. David and April believe in you. I believe in you. We've got to get you to believe in you. It's not arrogant. It's not arrogant to believe in you. Why is it okay to doubt yourself when you could spend as much time believing in yourself? You know what's at stake? You're going to be able to get yourself out of debt. You're going to be able to get yourself to be prosperous. You're going to be able to be generous to people and help people. You're going to be able to provide for your family. You're going to be able to keep yourself out of a nursing home. You're going to be able to help somebody else not be in a nursing home. You see what I'm saying? You need to think bigger when you understand what the stakes are. This idea of belittling who you are as if it's a false sense of humility that actually is humiliation. And if you keep humiliating yourself, you will never get the gold medal. You never will. You got to believe in you. And I know if you are like me, the biggest problem you face right now is doubting yourself. You doubt yourself. That's why what I'm talking about with these positive affirmations and focused imagination is, it's nuclear. This is stuff that you can master, because if you do this, I absolutely promise you guys, you will rewire your subconscious mind. You will. How do we know that? Neuroscience proves it. Don't overthink it. Use what I'm telling you. I became my own case study. Other people have too. I don't care where you are right now. If I could go from the place of asking the architect to take my life 3 times and find out that he took me up on that prayer, but not the way I thought he would, right? There's nothing you're going through right now. I'm telling you, with the architect as my witness, I believe in you because I've seen these things be true in my own life. Does that make sense?
Well, if we talk a little bit about the architect there for a second, Michael, when he identified himself by saying, I am that I am, he did not say, I am that I'm not. And a lot of people are saying, I am this, I am that, which is really not what they're really is not what they are. And they weren't made that way. They weren't created that way. We're all created with the seeds of success, as you know, as you've talked so eloquently on today. This is for every human being. The way our brain is created, that we have, as you have always said to me and reminded me brilliantly, that we have the option, the choice to choose how we're going to wire our brain versus happenstance wiring our brain.
100%. We used to think that we were a product of our environment, and that's all that we could do about it. We just had to, some people are born blessed. Some people are born cursed. Now, listen, there are all kinds of circumstances that are out of our control. Some of you might have been watching, listening, and saying, well, this is out of my control, or I can't help this. I think we've spent enough time in our lives focusing on the things that are outside of our control. Everything we talked about tonight is within your control. And control has gotten a bad rap. If you don't control what's going on in your subconscious mind and rewire it, it's going to be controlled and influenced by all kinds of other stuff, right? It's just going to keep eating potato chips and watching reruns. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. And I would go so far as to say that passage in the great book is actually after the fall. The architect did not change his mind on your design. He didn't say, you're not fearfully and wonderfully made. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. The design is intrinsic. Regardless of whether you're an atheist, agnostic, or whatever faith you may or may not have. Listen, I won't hold it against you. We got to agree on the same thing, and what we should be agreeing on is that this is the universal makeup of how your brain is, whether it's from evolution or whether it's by intelligent design. We now know through neuroscience and actual studies, being able to light up the brain with MRIs, how your brain works by what you focus on. Your subconscious is a byproduct of repetition and intensity. Repeat and focus vividly, and you will rewire your amazing brain. That's what it's about.
Michael, this will be up, available for people to review. We'll leave this up for a few days. We can do that?
Yes, we'll leave this up for a few days. I would remind you folks, if you came late to the program, you'll be able to just fast forward it to where it actually kicks in, because we wanted to give some time at the beginning for people to be able to join, and you'll be able to do that. But we all kind of know that that's the way it works with replays, right? You just scan it to where you need it to be.
So you guys can watch this over and over again to get it deeper into your subconscious. Write down every key point of those 7 points Michael covered so eloquently, and you will begin to own what he's teaching. So it's part of you. Then you can teach what you now own to others and create a multiplicative effect.
Yeah, and I just put up there again, if you haven't already done so, text the word bonus to us, and that gives you the free access to the other downloads. I've got some other videos, and I think there's downloads there as well that amplify this, and will take you further. And so watch it. Maybe encourage. Maybe have a watch party or rewatch party. Get some food together, and watch stuff. And believe. You got to believe. You got to believe. You've already spent enough time, my friend. You've already spent enough time allowing your mind to go places that have taken you to where you are today in life. And your fate is more a product of intentionality than we tend to realize. It really is. It really is. So live like an Olympic athlete for your business and for your marriage, and you won't regret it. Okay? So anything else you want to cover, my friend? David, April, it's great to see you.
We just appreciate you spending your time with us, and everyone will put this to great use, and we'll see you all soon at Free Enterprise.
Can't wait,
Fantastic.
guys. Yes, absolutely. The clock is ticking. We're less than 2 weeks away. And as some of you know, Michael was with us about 3 years ago and did a brilliant job. And so we're going to absolutely take what Michael has taught us here and multiply the effect FES, Free Enterprise Summit, will do for all of us in Denver, Colorado, October 24 and 25. Cannot wait to be there with you all and give you a big old hug around the neck and see that big old smile and hear your affirmation. Watch you in action.
Well, listen, thanks so much, David and April. I love you guys. Janet sends her love as well. I really appreciate you. Thanks for the privilege. Thanks, everybody, and look forward to maybe getting to see you in a non-virtual setting. Maybe 2026, that'll happen. I believe in you. You got to believe in you, okay?
Thanks, Michael. Bless you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Take care, guys.